She was often called a little devil for her seductive good looks, but I think she's more like an ageless vampire. Make way for the singing princess of Morning Musume, or she'll kick your butt? Stay tuned for this one. You might learn something surprising. In this episode of Otaku Files, we talk about the one and only Tanaka Reina. Most of us outside of Japan may not be aware of some of the more interesting personalities within the Japanese otaku landscape, so I thought I'd do a little video series and try to shed some light on these individuals. This is Otaku Files. Morning Musume, Japan's legendary idol group responsible for providing us with a number of famous names. And among those names is a special person that we're going to be talking about. Someone known particularly for their unparalleled vocal skills and seemingly ageless beauty, Tanaka Reina. Having joined Morning Musume as a part of their 6th gen in 2003, she was described by Morning Musume's producer Tsunku as being the closest to the ideal Morning Musume member. If you were looking for reliability, you didn't need to look any further. Despite her small frame, Reina's vocal capabilities, especially regarding rhythm, pitch, and expression, were unmatched, and because of that, she would most often be made the main vocalist for the songs she participated in. In fact, even for the song she debuted in, Shabondama, she was the main vocalist, as well as being made center. The singing princess indeed. Obviously, this must have been a lot of pressure on Reina, and no doubt this must have been viewed as controversial at the time for placing the spotlight right on someone new, but it became a memorable track for her. What also made Reina clearly stand out was her personality. Having kept speaking in her thick Hakata dialect, aka Hakata Ben, Reina was very honest, sometimes to the point of just being blunt. This was something fans could clearly see in her behavior, including when she was performing.
順調ですよ、うちは。
順調だけいっぱい子供できるじゃない？
It also made for good TV. Reina was just seemingly a pillar of mental stability, which is also probably why Tsunku felt it was okay to put so much focus on her. Of course, when talking about Tanaka Reina, we need to talk about her looks. With her cute little devil smile, let's face it, Reina's beautiful, and she's been able to maintain her youthful appearance so well that many newbies are shocked when they find out her age. However, Reina's appearance and strong attitude, while no doubt being of benefit to her in many ways, hasn't always worked in her favor when it comes to being a member of Morning Musume, especially in the beginning. We'll talk more about that in just a bit, but first we need to ask, why does Reina speak in Hakata Ben? Well, that's because she's from the city of Fukuoka, located in the prefecture of the same name. Now, Fukuoka is known for many things, like ramen and open food stalls called yatai, but it's also known for something less socially appealing: Yankee. I've talked about Yankees before in previous videos, but simply put, they're classified as young delinquents that have a love for loud vehicles and a tendency to squat in front of konbinis. You do see them a lot in anime and manga, and supposedly the prefecture of Fukuoka is home to a lot of them. They have a pretty distinctive look, and visually speaking, Reina seemed to fit the bill, and that basically became her character. But it turns out there was an element of truth to her quote-unquote Yankee background, with Reina talking about some Yankee-like episodes back from her elementary and middle school days within a TV show, like when she was called out by a girl who was at a leader level who looked to start something, only to have Reina shout, "Cut it out, or I'll beat the crap out of you." Maybe it's because she earned that girl's respect, but apparently the girl started to talk to Reina normally from the next day. Oh, and Reina's also shown an old picture of herself wearing tokofuku, which is a long coat normally worn by biker gangs known as bosozoku. I can just hear those bloody horns. Perhaps she was heavily influenced by her surroundings, but from elementary school, she certainly liked to dress in a way that was essentially a big FU to society. But as Tsunku once even said, Reina has the face of a Yankee, but the heart of an honor student. Her Yankee background can't erase the fact that she was a hard-working and dedicated member of Morning Musume who would constantly watch her senpais practice to see what she could use. Having the Yankee character pushed onto her from the beginning, Reina was often teased and made fun of. For example, being asked who she beat up today. Although the Yankee character allowed Reina to just be her straightforward self, like I mentioned, Yankees aren't viewed very positively within Japanese society. For example, example, there was a lot of criticism online from Japanese netizens when she opened up about the kind of clothes she used to wear. It seems that some thought she was just a gyaru, but these quote-unquote revelations ended up changing their minds. Now, interestingly, Reina started getting into Morning Musume thanks to a member that was also labeled as sort of a Yankee because of how she looked, Goto Maki. Although as far as I'm aware, Maki doesn't share a similar Yankee background. Reina heard that someone similar to her, someone with blonde hair, had entered Morning Musume and decided to check them out. Finding Maki to be really cute, and after hearing Koi no dancer Saito, Reina became a huge fan of her and started to buy her goods and collect her cards. When Morning Musume came to play in Fukuoka, Reina went to see them live, and even ended up shedding tears when she got to see Maki in person. Afterwards, she would write about her experience in her diary and also write that one day she hopes not to be an audience member but to be the one on stage singing. And unbelievably, not too long after that, she would actually get into Morning Musume. I'm telling you, it was just meant to be. Speaking of Reina joining Morning Musume, there's actually an interesting story there. The first time she took the audition, it was actually for a spot within the 5th gen in 2001. But the surprising thing was, she was a year underage. Having said that, even though she wrote about it in her diary, Reina didn't actually believe her application would pass through the screening process anyway, and after speaking about it casually with her mother, decided to apply just for the sake of it. Except, it did go through. To keep a long story short, Reina would actually pass both her interviews and was told she would be able to join the training camp. Upon hearing this, she freaked out. Not because she was happy, but wondering how on earth she was going to keep her age a secret. Reina went to the meeting place, which was Tokyo Station, and on purpose left her health insurance card, which has her age on it, at home, thinking that she'd just tell them she forgot it. However, Reina and her mother would end up being confronted by the staff, with them asking if Reina was still in elementary school. It turns out that someone who knew Reina saw that she was going to be a part of the training camp because her face was shown on TV, and decided to call in asking how she managed to go through. Wonder who made that call. In any case, they forced Reina to drop out. When they started to take auditions for the 6th gen, Reina was now at the qualified age, but was actually reluctant to try again, thinking that they wouldn't accept her because of what had happened before. But it was her mother that managed to convince Reina to try again, saying that if her application was actually rejected, then it would be okay to just give up. And of course, as we all know, it actually did go through, and Reina would make it all the way to the end. Reina felt that compared to her elementary school years, in middle school, she had become ugly, and with her hair a lot darker, also lacked what made her visually appealing during the 5th gen auditions. So throughout the audition, she genuinely couldn't understand how she was still advancing. Now, like I talked about in the video I made about Michishige Sayumi, when Reina along with Sayumin and Kamei Eri were told that they had all passed, they weren't exactly jumping for joy. It turns out, in Reina's case, she actually wasn't happy. She explains at the time she heard they passed, what immediately crossed her mind was Fukuoka. She would need to move away from her hometown, which meant leaving her friends and also her father. Of course, the excitement of being able to join Morning Musume would eventually catch up to her, and Reina thought about how she would tell her friends that she managed to get in, but she explains that the whole thing didn't really hit her during that time. Reina would graduate from Morning Musume and Hello Project in May of 2013, with it reported that she wanted to concentrate on her band Lavender. However, Reina's initial plans after graduating was actually just to go back to Fukuoka. Although there are certain reasons she wants to keep confidential, Reina didn't really care to be in the entertainment business per se, she just really wanted to join Morning Musume, and she achieved that. Within the group, Reina had pretty much achieved everything she wanted to do. Essentially, she was satisfied, and wasn't sure what her future with Morning Musume would look like anymore, and was just casually like, yeah, I want to graduate. Typical straightforward Reina. She had no plans to do anything after that, but after several tries, Tsunku managed to convince her that it would be a waste if she just completely left the entertainment world, which is why Lavender ended up being formed. Lavender ended up going on hiatus in 2019, but Reina is still active. I'll leave some links in the description box below so you can find out what she's up to now. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I honestly love how Reina just lives her life the way she wants. She's a rare example of someone in the Japanese entertainment world who was able to be successful while staying very true to themselves. The Yankee stuff I honestly couldn't care less about, but yeah, mainstream idol group, Japanese society, you know how it is. But nonetheless, she reached the top. But anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, along with any suggestions for future videos. Yes, I am trying to make this channel work, so I would appreciate your support. Thanks again, guys. Hope to see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Peace.